Hey, already got lots of folks on, which teaches me something important about when to send notifications, but also gives me someone to talk to during this awkward time when I'm usually just talking to myself. Please let me know if you can see and hear me okay. Coming to you live today, June 2nd, 1 p.m. Eastern. Going to be a good show today, and I'm excited to start up our weekly live streams once again. I'm talking really low right now because I'm trying to save my voice. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, if somebody could just let me know if you could see and hear me, please, I'd appreciate it. I appreciate you. Daganta, what's up, buddy? Says all good. Good. Ramon says thumbs up. Jim says howdy. Loving Nature Guy says hello. Chris, what's up, Chris? Good to see you. Can see and hear you. Fine Point Design says I hear you. Alexis says hello. Chris Wright says I can hear you. Awesome. Joseph says super excited. You rock. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I appreciate the enthusiasm. Ashley says hello or hey from UK. Lots of engagement today. That makes me happy. Pradyumna, I apologize if I got that wrong, says hi. We will get started in a minute or two. John says hello. Stella says hi from Morocco. Oh, hello. What time is it in Morocco? Paul says, hey, have to do some work in between, but I'm listening as well. Awesome. Welcome aboard, Paul. Always good to see you. Jim says, super happy to have weekly live streams. So am I, to be perfectly honest. I miss doing these. I miss most of you guys. Andy says hi from Houston. What's up, Andy? So, hey, I'm looking forward to talking to you tomorrow, my friend. And I'm sorry about the scheduling issue that I'm bad at. It says hi. Stella says it's 6 p.m. Loving Nature Guy says love from India. Love from the United States. Right back at you. I'll get started in about 2 minutes and got a lot to cover, but I think it's going to be fun. And just glad to have everybody here. Just closing my 200 windows I have open. Niche Monk, that's a cool name, says hi from Germany. Dave says it's 10 here in Arizona. Good morning, Dave. Hopefully somebody gets that reference. Bruce says hi from Des Moines, Iowa. What's up, Bruce? Good to see you. We're going to get started at about 1:05 just because I want to get as many folks on as we can. I'm just going to walk you through in kind of what I do, and some services you can use to get it done. Chakawat says superstar. That's you, my friend. Polly says hey from Ukraine. Hello, Polly. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Good turnout today. Seun says hello. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. All right, we'll get started in about 45 seconds. What basically how it's going to work is I'm going to walk you through a presentation, show you some of the services as well as the process, and then we'll take some questions. So I think if everyone's cool with that, we'll get started in just a second or two. And if you're not, we're going to get started in a second or two anyway. I'm rebellious like that. Browser notification just came in. Those convert pretty well. Well, depends on how you look at it. So I think it is time to go ahead. I would like to see your 1,000 tab. Dude, it drives It drives some people nuts. I'll have like my whole desktop will be covered with files. I'll have so many tabs and browser windows with multiple tabs open that on the like, you can't see me on the taskbar, it'll be too many. It'll take them up, and then they'll have to stack them this way. So people often ask me how I stay so organized, and the answer is I don't. All right, let's go ahead and get this party started. We're going to share screen. No, that's not what we want. Is it this? Yeah, there we go. And let's see. Okay. All right. I think that that's a pretty good view. Everybody see that okay? MD says hello, Chris, or hello, Chris. And Ross says, hey, Chris, first time I've made it to live in a while. That's because there hasn't been any in a while. So you haven't missed much. All right, let's get this thing going. Today we're going to talk about an SEO A to Z blueprint that I have been using for quite a while now that works really well for me. If you're in Superstar SEO Academy, you've seen it before. I've talked to you about it in other places, but I thought I would share it with you today because I like you. So let's dive into it. Can I please have a checklist of what to do every month for SEO? John says, before I forget, will you share the PowerPoint after? Sure, yeah, I can do that. And this is a question that I get a lot. And it's a question that a lot of you probably have, a lot of you've probably asked, or at least thought at some point in your time at doing SEO and other things. And I've always been reluctant to do it because when you give someone a checklist or a punch list and it doesn't work 100% of the time, they throw the baby out with the bathwater. I've never understood that expression, but that's another time for another time. But I think it's helpful to at least have a guide. So I decided to cover that a little bit today. So warning, a few things that I want to make sure are clear before we get all the way into this, because I don't want there to be any confusion. The first, this is not going to be literally the only thing you have to do. This is going to give you a guide on and a kind of a process to follow, but your value as an SEO professional is the skill that it takes to adapt to the nuance of each SERP, each campaign, each keyword, and so on. So this will get you 85, 90%. The rest of it is going to be your skill as an SEO. That's going to get you the other 10 to 15%. So it's just keep that in mind, right? No one process ever works over and over again. If it did, if at least for SEO, if it did, no one would ever pay us, right? Because they could just get something like this, follow it, and get there. So keep that in mind. This is not designed for Google Maps. I'll do that in a future live stream. This is designed for organic. So just keep that in mind. This is not the only way to succeed. This is just a process that I know that is effective and has been consistently effective for me for years. So, but I know there's going to be that guy in the comment, actually, you don't have to do that IRAN, that you just need great content that people will link to. No, if that works for you, then more power to you. I don't get offended when other people have a strategy that works for them that isn't what I do, but other people do. So if you're one of those, then just accept that this is not the only way to succeed. And you may not like it. That's fine. Don't use it. I don't care. This works, and this is going to be a question I get anyway, I assume, but it'll work for most any type of site, but it's mostly designed for local clients. So, you know, the roofer or the pizza shop or the insurance company or whatever it is, that sort of business. But it will work for your affiliate sites and things like that. I'm going to recommend some freelancers and some services throughout this. Those are not the only good ones. So don't take that as me slighting anyone that I don't mention or anything like that. It's just some of the ones I've been using, some for literal years, like since 2015. Others are going to be my service. And if you're, by the way, I guess I should cover that too. If you're the kind of person that gets offended by someone promoting themselves, you're probably in the wrong place, because it's a disservice to my customers for me not to suggest my own services, because that's telling them that they could have gotten something better by going to someone else. And I don't do that. So I will have some of my own in here, and there will be, under absolutely no circumstance, free pizza slices provided. I'm sorry. I know some of you are counting on them, but once again, that was just a hook to bring you in. New people must wonder, what the hell is this guy talking about, pizza slices? So I just wanted to cover all of that before we got too deep into this. I want to make sure that I set the expectation, and you know what this is and what this is not. So let's keep plugging away. So I have this broken. James says he was told there would be pizza. Yes, it was a lie. It was just a clickbait to get you here. So I've broken this down into 3 phases that somewhat correlate with the first 3 months of a campaign. And I'm going to kind of walk you through how the thinking behind it. And then when I'll show you the services that I use to do them. And then we can take some questions. So phase 1 is about building up your brand relevance and the trust to your site and to your business. And I say your business because your business is not just your website. And by your, I mean your client or the site you're working on or whatever. It's all the entities and all the occurrences of your brand out on the internet that Google can find. So you want to build as much of that as you possibly can in the first part of it, because it's going to make everything you do that much easier, and it's going to make everything you do more effective. So the first thing you have to do is optimize your homepage for your brand name. So let's say Quality Roofing is the name of the site that you're working on. You want to optimize the homepage, not for a keyword term or anything like that. You want to optimize it for Quality Roofing, home of the best roofers in, I don't know, Des Moines or wherever. The way you're going to do that is to both optimize the page itself using branded on page. And what that means is not keyword optimized on page like you would on a money page. We're going to talk about that in just a bit. You're going to optimize the homepage for the name of the business. When I say branded, I know most of you know this, but I'm trying to not assume. When I say branded, I mean the name of the business. So branded meaning Quality Roofing. You're going to take care of the technical stuff. That's site maps, footer, all those sorts of things. And then what you want to do is you want to start with citations. Citations are at least the major ones. You want to get Yelp and Hot Frog and Foursquare and so on. At least get the major ones, fill those out really well, optimize them for the brand name, and link those over. Those aren't nearly as powerful as they used to be for Google Maps, but they're still an important trust signal to have. Then you want to get branded social media profiles. If you're taking on a client, there's a good chance they're going to have a lot of these. You know, they may have a Facebook page, a Twitter, and so on. But you want to build out 10 to 50 of those, maybe more, but at least 10, probably no more than 100. And you're going to optimize those for the brand name. So Facebook page for facebook.com/ what did I say? Quality Roofing, with a few posts on the page just to make sure that it looks live, and a link over to your website. Then you want to do branded Web 2.0s. And now a quick word of caution here. When people hear Web 2.0, often what they think is Magic Submitter or showing my age with that one, or I don't know, whatever automated SEO autopilot, any of those tools. That's not what I'm talking about. You just want to build out 10 or 20 of the high quality ones, a WordPress.com, a Weebly.com, and so on. So Weebly.qualityroofing.com, or maybe the other way around, qualityroofing.weebly.com, and just build those out, make them look a little bit nice, link them over to your site. It's not going to have a lot of power, but what we're doing in this first month is not building power. We're building trust. By doing that, we're establishing a brand with all these different properties around it that tell Google, hey, this is a new business, a real business with real profiles out in the real world. We should trust it as a real brand. And that's why you want to put some posts on each of these as well. So, and then social signals, it's a huge pet peeve of mine when people get this wrong. Social signals are when you post your link to Facebook or Pinterest or Twitter or whatever, and it gets shared, liked, commented, retweeted, what do you do on Pinterest? Repinned, all that stuff. So you want to do that too. And the reason that you want to do that is because what's something someone would do when they have a new site, or they're relaunching a new site, or birthing their business out into the internet? They're going to tell everybody about it, right? So that's what you're doing with social signals. If you have enough friends, family, things like that to get that done without a service, then you should do that. If not, you use a service to do that. So this is kind of phase 1, is building up a wall of trust, a moat of trust, if you will, around your site to create it as a real business. Now, oops, I didn't know you could do that. Cool. So this is how you're going to do this mostly in month 1. You're going to do the social media profiles branded for the homepage. So what I mean by that, again, is facebook.com/qualityroofing with posts about your business, and a link in that profile over to your business. Most social profiles allow you to have a link over to your business. You're going to do citations, at least the major ones. You don't have to go crazy with hundreds of them or anything like that, but at least the major ones, the Yelps, the Hot Frog, the Yellow Pages, those things. You want branded foundation links, and I think I left that off the diagram, but that's just another type of link. It's going to build a big wall around of trust around your site. So the reason we're doing that, again, is to establish it as an entity that Google realizes that all these things are tied to that site. So that's kind of the point of links anyway. And then by branding them, that's what you're doing. Same thing with Web 2.0s. You want to do the on page, at least for the homepage. You can go ahead and do your money page too. I think I have that in phase 2, but you can go ahead and optimize all the pages. Technical as needed. And by technical, I mean, again, your site maps, your broken links, your interlinking, things like that. And then social signals. So that's kind of month 1, phase 1. And here are some of the services I use. And these are all linked. If you're watching this on YouTube, they are linked. If you're watching this on my website, they're linked. If you're watching on Facebook, I'll link you over to the blog post on my site, and I'll drop it in the chat here in just a minute too. But these are some of the ones I've used, and they'll all be linked there. So I couldn't really figure out a good way to put these in the presentation because I don't know, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But I guess if I'm going to share the presentation later, I can do that. So I'll go back and edit those in. But these are some of them. This is Mukesh Patel. This is me. This is Ignite First. That's me again. That's London SEO, Search Combat, and Kickstart Your SEO Ranking. And these are all on Legit. So I'm not going to be recommending services anywhere else. If you don't like that, well, you don't know me very well. So those are some of them. Again, they'll be linked. If you're watching on YouTube, they're already linked. If you're watching on my website, they're already linked. If you are watching on Facebook, I will link you to my website here in just a few minutes. So that brings us to phase 2. And guys, if you have any questions, just hold those to the end. And I'll sit here all day and take questions if you want me to. Phase 2. This is where we get a little more in depth, right? So here we're going to be looking at both the home page and the money page. Excuse me one moment while I grab a drink. We're going to be building some additional trust elements. We're going to start with a little bit of power, and then we're going to build our keyword, location, and niche relevance to our money page. When I say a money page, I mean the page that you actually want to rank for a keyword. So continuing our roofing in Des Moines example, Des Moines roofers, Des Moines commercial roofers, Des Moines residential roofers, that sort of thing. So starting with the home page, you want to do a press release, or at least that's what I do. A press release to talk about your business, talk about some great things that you're doing, and so on. And then you want to do a domain authority stack. A domain authority stack is where we take some optimized high DA, domain authority profiles, sort of like Web 2.0s, and link them in a way that pushes the juice upwards to your site. And then we power those up too. And there's a great service I've been using for that. Then for the money page, we're going to do kind of the same thing, except not. So we're going to do keyword optimized social media profiles. So it's assuming Des Moines roofer again is our keyword. We would get facebook.com/Des Moines roofers and optimize it, not necessarily with your brand stuff, but just as if that was the point of that page, Des Moines roofers. So we're going to do that. And if those are taken, you add a 2 or you add in, just get a little creative because often they're going to be taken. You need to optimize that page. Again, if you haven't done that in month 1, you're going to optimize that page for the keyword or keywords. The same thing with Web 2.0 that you did with social media profiles. So DesMoinesRoofer.wordpress.com, DesMoinesRoofer.tumblr.com, that sort of thing. Put a few posts on those to make them look real and build some trust. And again, what we're doing is we're doing 2 things here. We're building up the relevance of that page to that keyword, that niche, that location. And we're also using a bunch of different types of anchor text. So we don't have to worry about over optimizing in phase 3. So what we're doing is we're using some URLs, some not branded, but some URL, some generic and things like that. I guess you could throw in some branded too, although I wouldn't. But we're using this to diversify our link portfolio. That way, our anchor text portfolio, that way, when it comes to the next phase, which we'll get to in a few minutes, you'll be able to use the exact anchors and the LSIs to really hit it hard. So, and then you're going to also want to do some social signals to that page as well. to kind of, because you're doing all this other stuff and it wouldn't make sense that it didn't get some engagement out in the universe. So just to kind of, I know I went through that pretty quick. Homepage. This is your site, your homepage. You're going to do a press release to that. Press releases are going to give you some trust. They're going to give you some links. They're going to give you some visibility. And frankly, if you're working with a client, they are going to give you something to show them. So there's that. Domain Authority Stack powers up the whole site, and that just kind of goes to the homepage. And then you're going to do a keyword web 2.0, social media profile web 2.0s. If it's a more difficult niche, you can do foundations to this. I often don't find that I don't have to. And then we'll do social signals to that as well. And then here are some, where'd it go? Here we go. Here are some vendors for that. It's this is Nix for the press release, Rohini for the domain authority stack. And again, not all, these aren't the only ones. These are just some of the ones that that I've used and recommend. This is Mirror. This is SEO rank 90. This is me, and this is Muktesh again. These are some and not all that you can use, but these are some of the services I use successfully. If you're watching on YouTube, they're linked in the description. If you're watching on my website, they're linked below this video. And if you're watching on Facebook, I'll give you that link in just a minute. So, and then phase 3 is the power. I've often used the analogy of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, which is a video game from the 80s, from my childhood. Date myself there, 3012. It's where you hit them with a bunch of jabs and right hooks, and now it's time to throw an uppercut and try to knock them out. By this point, before you start this phase 3, you're usually, depending on the niche and the keyword and the other things like that, you're usually already page 3, page 2, somewhere in there. If you're in the legit group, you saw some of the results I've gotten with it lately. And I've barely done a lot of this stuff, and I'm already on page 2 for Little Mac. Yeah, exactly. For a lot of these terms, and this is kind of where you should be as well. So what you want to do now is use guest posts to do market level anchors. Now, what's a market level anchor? I know that's not a term a lot of people are probably familiar with, and what that is, but what that means is if you're like continuing our roofing example, it would be roofing or roofer or something like that, just as broad as you can. If it's like a wedding photographer, you just put photographer or photography, something like that to kind of theme the homepage. Guest posts are, I don't want to say they're the weakest, but they have the least immediate power of the, what I call power links. So, and I left something out here, but that's kind of what you want to do with that. And then for your money page, you want to use exact match anchors and LSIs, and with PBNs and niche edits. A niche edit is where it's kind of like a guest post, but it's where they go back and edit in a link as opposed to making a new post and building a link out from it. And then PBNs are private blog networks, which are kind of like guest posts, but they're owned by a person with the express purpose of linking out. So there you want to use Des Moines Roofing, roofers in Des Moines, that sort of thing. Use those because that's going to give you the most power. And then the guest post you can use to theme the site a little better or a little more by using roofing, photography, just really, really broad terms like that. And that's what's worked really well for me to get it over the hump. LSI anchor, yes, latent semantic index. If your exact keyword is roofing or Des Moines roofer, and LSI would be roofing in Des Moines or roofing company in Des Moines, Iowa, things like that. So it's like a long tail is another way of putting that. So I actually saw a post about it was some guy I can't stand talking about how CEOs don't use LSI right, and he was basically being that guy. So, and it may not be the definition of it, but that's how SEOs understand it, and that's what it is. So that's guest posts, niche edits, PBNs, and that's the thing I left out. I just want to do social signals as well. I do those anytime I'm doing anything else because I want to justify that activity, if that makes sense. And then revise on page. I put that in every month because that can always continue to be tweaked and improved. And then some services for that. I don't know why it's all skewed like that, but for PBNs, we've got myself, we've got Sackett, who's been on the channel before, and we got Hatred, who I've been using since 2015. We do a great job. If I do say so myself, social signals, and then myself for guest posts and niche edits. And again, there are plenty of other great vendors that do these, but one, I only use my own network. And so, because I have it, so why wouldn't I? And two, it's a disservice to my customers to say that I don't have the best. So one moment. So that's that. And now for a shameless plug, I do have a service where I do all of this myself for you with my team, and we're not outsourcing it to all these vendors. We're just doing it internally with our staff. So that's linked as well. And that's kind of that. Let's, before we get into questions, let's take a look at some of the vendors. So let me see if I can find my page here. So this is the social media profiles. This is Moktesh. You can see he does a great job. My citation service. This is one of the Web 2.0 services. This is Lundum SEO, who I've been using for ages. This is Ignite First, who I've been using for foundation links for a long time. This is Search Combat, who does a great job with on page, especially for local sites. Scott Allen does too. I couldn't find his service though. Social Signals, that's Handsome Devil is me. Domain Authority Stack, this is one of my all-time favorites. This is Roheen, who's also been on the channel before. Does a really great job. Nix, of course, who has also been on the channel, does PRs and is obviously one of the top people in the industry with that. There's Moktesh again. This is another Web 2.0 service. This is Mir. He does a great job. He's a great guy. He works really hard. Social Signals again. And there's guest posts, niche edits, PBNs. Hatred's PBNs. He's a long-time veteran. As you can see, he gets the job done. And I don't know why I don't have Sackets up there, but and then here's my managed SEO service as well. Let me go ahead and drop this in the chat for you. And then we will jump back and take some questions. Bring the presentation back up. And we already have some questions, so we'll start answering them. All righty, let me see. Don't want to miss anybody. So Chris, I brought my own pizza. Do you do a press release for the homepage or each money page? Occasionally I'll do one for a money page, but usually I just do it for the homepage, but it just kind of pretends. It kind of depends, but for the most part, you can get away with doing it to the homepage. It doesn't make as much sense in my opinion, but if you can find an angle, you can do it to the money page as well. But generally I do it for the homepage. Mac. LSI Anchor, I think I covered that already. Bruce says, referring websites with keywords in the name. Referring websites with keywords in the name. I'm not 100% sure what you're asking, but as far as like your social profiles and your Web 2.0s and your foundation links, yeah, you want to get the keyword or the brand name, depending on where you're sending them, in the title and in the URL and in some of the posts as well. If that's not what you meant, let me know and I'll come back to it. Same process if your money page is your homepage, more or less. You have to adapt a little bit. You don't necessarily need to do 2 of everything, but more or less. Although I really don't recommend that unless you absolutely have to. Meaning I don't recommend your homepage being your money page unless there's like a good reason. How many times do you have to order white label for easy to mid comp? It's not a matter of how many times because it's a recurring service. So it really depends on the keyword, on which package is right for you, but it's a monthly service. So we keep working on it month after month until, until we get you to where you want to go. But, the bigger the bigger the package you use, the more effective we're going to be able to be, if that makes sense. I just had to find a way to break it up, This is a really good plan. It will be helpful for me. I really want to systematize my process. Yeah, it's really worked well for me. It's what I do from our white label clients that we're absolutely killing it for. It's what I do for my private clients, which I've always had success with. I really haven't done it for myself because who cares? But like it works really well. And I think it's sustainable, So Paul says, thanks. Also like this format. Thank you, Paul. How important is it for weekly blog posts? It's not really all that important. You can make blog posts if you want, if you're, there's advantages to them, but what I'd like to do with blog posts is answer questions. So do I need a mold remediation company? Things like that. So it's not that important. Who's that guy with his arms crossed? That's my superhero pose. How can we determine low and high competition? That's kind of up to you, you know. You just kind of have to get a feel for that. Or you can always ask if you have something specific, you can always message me or someone else on Legit or wherever. But I mean, that's kind of one of the things I talked about your skill being, you know, you kind of have to determine that yourself, or you can consult with someone on a case by case basis. Unfortunately, there's not a good formula in my opinion for that, especially for the tools that give you like a keyword difficulty. They're completely worthless in my opinion. So do you have a list of systematized process for on-page and technical SEO? That's kind of where you have to build the skill or either get someone to do it for you. You have to have the skill to do on-page. Maybe we can cover that in a future live stream, some of the things that I do for on-page, but a bare minimum, just use Audit or Surfer or something like that to optimize the content for your keyword. That's like a bare minimum if you want to start there. But that's kind of where the skill comes in, or you can hire that out as well. So Bruce says parking landing pages with domain names containing keywords linking back to the homepage. So you can do that. You can buy like EMDs and PMDs. That stands for exact match domain or partial match domain. But I don't know. You have to be careful with it because it's an obvious like SEO thing. But yeah, you can do that. You can kind of create like pumper sites is what I call those. There's really very little difference between them and a PBN, you know. So you can do that. It's not the most cost effective method though, if you have a lot of sites and a lot of clients. Excuse me one second. Rajat says, can we compete with high quality blog sites, those which are already ranking? How a beginner can compete? Of course. I mean, obviously it's going to take more time, more money, more effort, more resources, and more determination, but there's nothing special about people that are already number one that you can't be number one also. So yeah, you can absolutely compete. Just start small and just start working on the process and being patient and being consistent, you know. That's how you begin. Now you may have to do some of this yourself as opposed to outsourcing it until you have some income coming in. What I would do is pick up some keywords that are going to bring you in some revenue and go from there, if that makes sense. Adam says, can you please explain the difference between a home page and a money page? Sure. If you go to mcdonalds.com, the home page is the page that you land on, mcdonalds.com. And that's going to be all about McDonald's, their history, I don't really know. I've never been to mcdonalds.com, I don't think, but it's going to be about their corporate structure, you know? So that's kind of that. The money page, if you were working with, say, a local business, it would be mcdonalds.com/Myrtle Beach McDonald's or something like that. If you want to rank for McDonald's in Myrtle Beach, obviously this isn't a great example, but the inner page that you actually want to rank for a keyword term, that's what a money page is. So let me know if that makes sense. AM says, can you tell more about what anchors to use for links from tier 2 to tier 1 and tier 3? I don't really do a lot of tiers, to be perfectly honest. But if you want to do that, you can. If you want to be a little safer, suppose you have like a Facebook page that's facebook.com/roofer Des Moines Roofer. You could link to that Facebook page and it would help rank the Facebook page itself. And I would use a keyword anchor there to push that up. But I don't do a ton of that sort of thing. And then you can always do at the lower tiers, you can do more mass link type things, but I'm not finding as much effect from doing that unless you specifically want to like get into page 1 domination type of thing. But that's really do. Ross says, I have an Excel spreadsheet I use for all customers and it follows your Superstar SEO checklist, as this appears to be very similar. It is very similar. So I think I'm kind of managing this as well as I can by myself so far. Awesome. Yeah, I have no doubt that you are, dude. What DFI service would you recommend for a personal injury lawyer with a $4K budget? Obviously you want as much firepower for that as you can. If you need a custom package, you can message me on Legit and we'll put something together for you, because even the top tier package may need a little more firepower. If you have enough budget, we'd be happy to work something out for you. I'd really like to see a local SEO / maps version of this. Yeah, we're going to be doing weekly live streams every, what day is this? Wednesday at 1 p.m. So stick around. We'll do that eventually. Is blogging dead now? No, not at all. It is a lot more work. And I think people prefer things like YouTube and so on. But like, you could use Medium or you can use a blog on your site. I've been building out the blog on my site for a while now. So Jim says, insider knowledge, there soon will indeed be free pizza. If there is, it's going to be on your credit card, buddy. Carlos says, for payday loan Texas cities, meaning multiple cities, example, payday loan El Paso, payday loan in Humboldt, Texas. That's a funny name. With new sites, do you still need citations even if you don't have an address in cities? I mean, I would do them just for the homepage, but only for the homepage. Or if you're trying to rank Google Maps for those inner pages, then I would do them there as well. Do you 100% need them? Probably not, but they're a good link and they're mostly free. So there's not much reason to, Ross says, can you send me a slice over to the UK? It might be a little cold by the time Jim personally sends it there. So can you discuss the money page in regards to different types of sites, brick and mortar services, etc., service-based websites? So brick and mortar, if you suppose you have a pizzeria, the homepage would be Bill and Jones Pizzeria, and then the money page would be pizzeria in Milwaukee. My examples are so bizarre. That would be for a brick and mortar, and that's really not much difference for a service-based website. So carpet cleaner Melbourne would be the money page. The homepage would be proper carpet cleaners or something like that. And then e-commerce, I don't have a ton of experience with e-commerce, I'm not going to lie. But I think that what Jeff recommends is ranking the collection pages and the product pages, but I'd be doing you a disservice to give you a hard answer on that, because I don't do a lot of e-commerce as far as SEO. So, but I think that's probably the way to go with that. But again, e-commerce is not my strength, and I'm not going to lie to you and give you an answer just so I can sound whatever. So grab some more drink. Well, some more questions roll in. Great session. Great turnout today, guys. Can you let me know if you like this kind of thing? Like, I want to do more of these, but we can also just go back to our Q&A format. I'm going to have on some guests. I know I'm going to have Holly on pretty soon. I haven't lined anybody up behind that, but I'm going to be bringing on some folks to do some free trainings, free discussions, and things like that, So, but, if you enjoy this, definitely let me know. I don't want to waste anybody's time, We're all busy. We all have value. Hallie Starks, yes. How many days did it take you to earn your first dollar? I don't know. One of the first things I did online was I would take my Amazon Prime account and dropship over to eBay, which you're not supposed to do because you're not supposed to use Amazon Prime for drop shipping. That was one of my first dollars. I don't remember how long it took though. Yes, Holly Starks. Carol says, I love this. Thank you. Thank you, Carol. Adam says, I love this Q&A. Good. Do you like tools like Money Robot? Not really. I used to use SynWire a lot, but it went out of business. We kind of replaced it with another one called SynLab, but no, not really. I find the links are pretty low quality, hard to index. Not that indexing is all that important, and I just don't find that it hits as hard as it used to. So no, I'm not a fan. Dave says, yes, this is fantastic. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. Oops. Joseph says, random question. I know. No, that's fine. I like this and bring them all on. Awesome. Thanks, James. Bruce says, great information. Thank you, Bruce. Sohail says, love it. Thank you, Sohail. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Ross says, these lives break up my day and keep me sane. So thanks. Thank you. Yeah, Ross was around when we were doing these daily to get through the early part of the pandemic. So yeah. Rajat says, thanks for the QA session. It's great to interact with you directly. Well, thank you, Rajat. I appreciate that. I enjoy interacting with all of you as well. Excuse me. AJ Mira Manish Vlogs, there's your plug, says, how much did day 2 we earn? I don't understand that question. I'm sorry. Kareem says, excellent presentation. Thank you. Thank you, Kareem. AM says, love every single video on your channel. You are a no-nonsense SEO guy. Well, thank you. Meanwhile, what's the preferred anchor text ratio when we are using an EMD or PMD? There's no brand name. I don't do a ratio. I start with the URLs and the generics as much as I can. I add in slowly a keyword anchor, see how it responds, and then see if I need to add it more. That's kind of you have to be a lot more careful with those. Those do work really well, but you have to be careful with your linking and your anchor text on those to not overdo it, because you've already given it Google a lot of clues with the domain. So I hope that makes sense. Paul says, yes, I appreciate these live calls. When online, I will attend for sure. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We'll mark your calendar. We're going to do them every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. The only reason that would ever change is if something comes up, but if I have a guest and it doesn't work for them, it's the only reason we would do it differently. And we'll cover other things besides SEO. We'll do freelancing or whatever, but they'll be archived for you and so on. Hector says, nice info like always. Well, thank you, Hector. AJ Mura Manish Vlogs says, thanks for today's SEO. Thank you, sir. What's your take on Michael? What's up, Michael? Good to see you. Says, what's your take on CTR manipulation? I almost added that into this because I do that sometimes, but I don't like recommending that. I'm going to have that in the Google Maps version of this, but I don't have enough confidence in saying do it and having someone not mess up their site. I don't want to be responsible for that. So that's my take on it, is that it works when done right, but I don't want to recommend it to someone that doesn't know how to do it. Will you have a recording? Yeah, this is a live, so it'll be wherever you're watching it right now. It'll be there later, and it'll also be on the Superstar SEO site. So boom. AM says, there you go. Proved again. A straight to the point, no nonsense answer, telling us what you actually do and not any cooked up theory. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. I don't need the pat on the back, just to give you an answer, just to flex. So if I don't know, I'm going to say I don't know. And I'm just going to give you, the truth, because this is just, that's what you deserve, right? So I feel like I'm rambling, so we're just going to move on. Jim says, I legit always, he emphasizes, walk away from these lives with new ideas. Thank you. Actually, that reminds me, let's go ahead and get this on Instagram, because, Instagram lives just kind of suck. So we have to just do a video. So everybody say hi, Instagram. We're also on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. So there we go. If you're not already, by the way, follow me on TikTok at Chris M. Walker. We're about 45 minutes into this thing. Questions are dying down a bit. Anything else you guys would like to ask? Would you like me to quickly go through the slides again or anything like that? Do you have any more questions, or should we just call it a day? All right. If everybody's going to be shy, we will wrap it up. Please share a link to the PowerPoint reminder. I will. I have to save it and upload it, but I'll add that to the page on my blog and link that in both the YouTube and Facebook. So there we go. If possible, slides again. Slides one more time. All right, not a problem. Let's. All righty. So. Again, not the only thing you're going to have to do. You do have to have some skill. This is just to get you there, 85% of the way there. Let me take these off the screen. This is for organic. We'll do a Google Maps one in the future. It's not the only way to succeed. So if you disagree, that's certainly your prerogative. It works broadly, but it's designed mostly for local sites. So like brick and mortar or service area businesses. These are not the only services that are good, or freelancers or anything like that. And no one's getting pizza unless you get it yourself. Your homepage, this is phase one, is you want to build up relevance and trust by doing branded citations, social profiles, and Web 2.0s and on page. And then you want to do some social signals all to your home site in the first month to establish brand relevance, brand authority. I don't think that's really the right term, and trust. We do that through branded social media profiles, branded citations, branded foundation links, branded Web 2.0s, and on-page / technical and social signals. Here are some of the vendors. And again, these are linked below if you're watching on YouTube or my website. And I'll link that blog post on Facebook here in just a minute. I'm doing that last because Facebook doesn't let me pin a comment, and that's frustrating. The next phase 2, is keyword / location / niche relevance, and as well as some additional trust elements to the homepage. We do that via, again, more by keyword optimizing the money page, doing a press release and a DAS, a domain authority stack, to the homepage, keyword optimized Web 2.0s, so rooferdesmoines.weebly.com, things like that, facebook.com/rooferdesmoines, and then some social signals as well. The point of this phase, by the time you get done with this phase, you should already be on page 3 or page 2 or even page 1, depending on, you know, the keyword and the niche and competition and those things. So we do this through a domain authority stack, social keyword optimized social media profiles, keyword optimized Web 2.0 profiles, press releases, social signals, and every month you want to keep working on your on-page and your technical as needed. Here are some of the vendors that I use for those. Phase 3, and I left out a couple of things. I left out niche edits to your money page and social signals. You want to do market level anchors via guest post to your homepage. So photography, plumbing, roofing, and so on. Just super broad anchors like that to give Google a little more help in understanding what the site's about. And then exact match and long tail / LSI anchors with PBNs and niche edits to your money page. That's really going to push the power up and rank it the rest of the way. So there's that. So guest posts, niche edits, PBNs, always doing the social signals and on page as needed. Here are some of the vendors for that. And if you want to roll this all into one package, check out this. This is linked as well. And that's about that. It looks like we do have a few more questions. Any recommendations on schema? Yes, actually, I forgot to put that in the presentation. You don't necessarily have to have it, but check out My Canonical Romance. Let me see if I can bring that up. Let's see. There we go. Search. He does an absolute killer job. Yeah. This service right here is who you want for schema. Do you have a service for entire website page and optimization? And does every page need to be optimized or just the home page major? So I do. I have our done for you service here. Now, for the on-page portion of this, we don't actually touch the site just because it's too much hassle. But what we do, we'll give you a list of recommendations to implement. We do a page at a time, but yeah, this is kind of like an all-in-one if that's what you're asking for. So let me drop that in the chat for you. I think that's what you're asking. If not, let me know. Saeed says, hello. What's up, Saeed? Good to see you, buddy. John says, do you have that's the same one. So, and does every page need to be optimized or just the homepage, major service pages? I think it's best to optimize every page, but I would start with the homepage and the pages that you want to rank. Where can one ask general SEO questions? Is there a place where someone can ask about it? Sure. What you do is you jump in the Superstar SEO Facebook group. You can just search Superstar SEO, but I'll link to it as well. There's that. Yeah, that's the biggest SEO discussion group on Facebook, as far as I know. John says, I hate blogging. I do too, but I mean, it does have its advantages. MD says, I learned a lot from this video. Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad you got value from it. Saeed says, I'm good. Good to hear that. Jose, what's up, Jose? Says Andy here. Just coming by to say hello. Hello, my friend. I hope you're doing well. And there's the link to the Superstar SEO Facebook group. Let me go ahead and grab that blog post and drop that in the comments as well. What this is it literally has the video that we're watching right now. If I was to click play, you would see it again. And then it has all the services and so on. And then you can check out some other blog posts as well. So let's go ahead and drop that in the chat for you. So there's that. I think I spelled systematizing right. If not, oh well. So we have about 10 minutes left. If you have any more questions, let me know. Doesn't have to be on what we covered today, but it can be if you want it to be. And don't worry, John, I'll upload the PowerPoint to this page as well. So just keep that page and it'll be linked there in like an hour. So I'm gonna have some lunch after we get done here because damn. People starting to drop off some, which makes sense. We're pretty much done. Mark your calendars. We're going to be doing these live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Periscope, Twitch, and if StreamYard adds any other locations, we'll do it there as well. And yeah, so mark your calendars every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. I know I'm going to have Hallie Starks on soon. Beyond that, I don't really know what the plan is. We'll do a Google Maps version of this in the coming days, weeks, months. So yeah, excited to get these going again. I think it benefits everybody. I know I enjoy it. Saeed says, I'm not getting any orders, and I'm sorry to hear that, my friend. I haven't seen you post in a while though. So start working that Facebook group again. Am says, please do one on ranking Google Maps. I will, although that one's going to be even more. Ranking Google Maps is not as static as organic is, so there's going to be a lot more caveats on that one. But I will do a presentation on that in the future as well. So your needs have been heard, or something. Great live stream. Does your audit software follow this process? My software is just for OnPage. Let me go ahead and I can do that real quick. I can show that real quick. Mm-hmm. Yeah, do this off camera because you know. So what this does is just give you some on-page advice. So we're going to look at Myrtle Beach Painters and myrtlebeachpainters.net. Search. Say it says, okay. Would you be taking payments in crypto payments in the future on Legit? Maybe. I think you can do that through PayPal right now. I haven't investigated it. I read that you could, but it's not something I'm going to say isn't ever going to happen. So maybe at some point, because it seems to be the direction the world is going. Reminds me, I want to look at something real quick. Oh, anyway, yeah, so this is going to show you the total word. Let me zoom in a little bit on that. Total word count, and I can't. I have to look into that. Total word count, the times the keyword appears, keyword density, keyword in URL, and so on. And then it'll show you your URL and the averages, and then make some recommendations. So that doesn't. I mean, you can use this for the on-page part of the process, but it doesn't really, it's not like, it doesn't cover the whole thing. So, and is Holly News Network enough to pass for a press release? No, those are a different thing. Holly can explain that better than I can. So when she comes on, she can explain that. By the way, when Legit App will launch, I'm hoping to have it in a week or so. So we'll see, but we're really just waiting on approval from the iOS store, whatever they call that, the App Store. So very, very soon though. I have it on my phone. Want to see? Boom. So that's how close we are, is that I have it on my phone and it'll be available to the public very soon. It's great too. It's so much, it saves so much effort, you know? So off topic, how you handle your orders. I have a large team that helps with that. Georgie, he's been on the channel before, and maybe I'll bring him on again to do like an updated version. But Georgie just does an amazing job. Like he's changed my business and my life. He's so good at managing all of them, and he has a team of his own as well. And then I just once a day jump on and answer any questions that he doesn't know how to handle or anything like that. John says, have you had any luck with the company / Crowdo links? I'm not sure what you're asking me there. Can you clarify? I'm not sure what you mean by Crowdo links. I feel like I'm missing something. We got about 3 minutes left. So we'll get to John's question and any other last minute questions. Then we will wrap it up, and then we'll be doing this again next Wednesday. Once I know the topic, I'll post about it and kind of hype it up, because I'm a marketer after all. If you want to get done here's a little soft pitch for you. If you want to get done what we talked about today and have my team handle it for you, you can just grab our monthly managed SEO service here. So this is before we actually had ratings from our monthly services. And there you go. So we've been crushing some results on that. If you check out the Legit Facebook group, you know. I see some services to increase DR/DA. I know how this is done, but does this help in improving rankings? I don't know. I've never used them. A lot of people have been very happy with them though. So, you know, that's all I can really say. I haven't used it, so I don't know. I don't worry about other metrics, so I've never seen much reason to. It just depends on the method, I guess. But I really don't know. But a lot of people have been buying those services and like those services, so there has to be something to it. All right, guys, we got 2 minutes left. And then we're going to call it a day. Good turnout today, good engagement. So I'm hoping that means I did a good job. I try to do the best I can for you folks, and I hope that you appreciate it. If it's not, you know, if there's something I need to improve, let me know that too. We'll do that too. So I can't stand that picture because my ears look enormous, by the way. So there's that. All right, guys, got about 90 seconds left, and we're going to wrap it up. Great show today, I think. Great interaction. I think it was valuable. I hope you'll take advantage of some of these and start ranking your sites and just putting it through the grinder, you know, like just you put in some raw meat on one side and you get a hamburger out the other side. That's probably not a great analogy, but I think you know what I mean, right? Just find a process, push sites through it, get rankings, and get paid, because that's what we do, right? That's what makes SEO awesome. And this makes it easier. So, all right, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Appreciate everybody coming out today. Show up next week, Wednesday, at 1 p.m. Eastern, and we'll do it again. Appreciate you all. Most importantly, figure out what you want out of life and go out and get it, because you owe it to yourself. You owe it to the world. Appreciate you all being here. I'll see you again next week. Peace.